Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mustard Saves, and we interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you what I fed my boyfriend while he was sick. I know that's not what the title says, but I do eat all the same things he does, and I took this as an opportunity to give us both some healthy building blocks to work with so that he can get better and I can hopefully dodge whatever he has brought into my home. So to get started, I went to the grocery store the night before filming this, and while I was there, this amazing looking pineapple caught my attention, and I knew I had to bring it home as something to snack on throughout the next couple of days. We love having some fresh fruit ready to eat when we're sick. It's just so refreshing and comforting to have when you're feeling so icky, and even though it's November, our days regularly peak in the mid to high 80s, so it's still warm enough to enjoy cooling foods like this. And when it comes to peeling pineapples myself, I'm not super picky on getting all of the eyes out. I focus on getting all the really big ones out, and for the rest, we kind of either don't notice them while we're eating, or if they're too big, we just spit them out. So I don't really make too much of a fuss in getting all of them out. I just make sure I get all the skin and most of the big ones. For breakfast, I whipped up some super quick oatmeal. I started by bringing equal parts almond milk and water up to a boil, and then adding in my oats, some flax seeds, half a banana, and some brown sugar. I've only ever used flax seeds as an egg substitute in baking, but I see health gurus on YouTube adding them to oats and smoothies and other things all the time, so I figured it couldn't hurt to add a little extra healthy fats. And maybe just switch it up a little bit by adding in some of the flax seeds. I left this to cook and thicken for about 5 minutes before killing the heat and then throwing in some frozen blueberries. Putting them in last not only thaws the berries, but it also cools the oats down really quickly and leaves the blueberries mostly intact. I topped the bowl off with the other half of the banana and some walnut crumbles for another dose of healthy fats, and also just to kind of make it look nice for him. And he usually starts his day with a small pot of coffee, but luckily he's equally as addicted to herbal tea, so that was an easy swap to make on days like this. And I'll show the tea a couple more times in this video, but really, in the background, he drank so much tea, you guys. We like to stock up on it whenever we find it on clearance or something, and it was really nice to have that kind of collection while he was feeling so bad. After breakfast, he pretty much just wanted to watch TV and nap all afternoon, and neither of us really started to get hungry again until maybe 2 p.m. So that's when I got started on a big pot of soup. Like I mentioned earlier, it's still relatively warm here in Texas, so soup isn't quite on my radar yet, but it's always the first thing I think to make when someone in the house is sick, so I started with the classic ensemble of carrot, celery, and onion. I only used half an onion, but if I'm being honest with myself, I could have definitely just used the whole thing. And I kind of continued to share that sentiment with the rest of the vegetables that I added. I had picked up some zucchini and kale to use for this soup, and then I figured this was a good way to use up this other half of a head of cabbage. I don't usually keep kale in the house because I just assumed that since it was a stereotypically healthy food that it would be expensive, but this huge bundle was literally $1, and not just by weight, it was $1 per bundle, so now that I know that secret, we might be seeing kale more often on this channel. Into my soup pot, I started with my aromatics, and you're going to want to keep a better eye on these guys than I did. I got a little bit distracted while I was waiting, and my base got a little bit crispy, but luckily it wasn't bad enough to ruin the whole pot, so I just went on with my business and threw in some garlic and a total of 8 cups of veggie broth with maybe 2 cups of regular water. I wanted all my vegetables to be pretty soft, so I thought it was a good idea to throw them all in together, but as we'll see in a second, I, number one, could have easily doubled this amount of kale and zucchini considering how much they shrank down. And number two, I should have put the kale in later. It's not quite as hearty as I thought it was. For my seasonings, I had thyme, rosemary, Italian seasoning, parsley, and black pepper, but you can use whatever you have on hand. To give the soup something more filling, I added in the pasta from 2 boxes of Kraft mac and cheese that my aunt had given me. She had used the seasoning packets to make something else for a family event, and she didn't really know what to do with the noodles, so I just ended up inheriting them. And once the noodles were cooked, we can see that my pot ended up being more noodle than soup. And you would have never known how big the bowl of veggies were when I started, but luckily it still tasted great and it was a good learning experience. Like I said, I haven't really used kale before in the past. To bring back some brightness to the bowl, I served it with some fresh parsley and a squeeze of lemon and gave him another pot of tea to make up for the lack of soup. Later on, I don't even remember when we had dinner, but I know it was pretty late, so I didn't want to make anything too heavy or complicated, so I just whipped up some really quick salads. I think restaurants have given salads a bit of a bad rap. They're either really cheap and boring or super expensive and still hit or miss on the quality. But I find that salads made at home just hit completely different, and they're a great way to shove a variety of nutrition into your diet with minimal prep work. These ones were just super easy with some tomato, cucumber, lettuce, some feta cheese, some sunflower seeds, and then just on mine I put some red onion because he's not too big of a fan of raw onion. And then we just chose from whichever salad dressings we had in the fridge. And that's about it, you guys. We had a combination and a few variations of these meals over the course of a few days, along with a cocktail of generic Robitussin, Sudafed, and Vapor Rub until he was feeling back on his feet again. I don't think I made anything too exciting, but hopefully you guys found it entertaining. And while you're here, I'd love to hear from y'all in the comments if you'd like to share what you like to eat or make for someone when they're sick. As always, if you like the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see other shenanigans I get up to in the kitchen, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!